My name is Hannah Voss, and I am 31 years old. 3 weeks ago, my mother stood on my front porch for the first time in 8 years, holding a wheeled suitcase and a folded sheet of paper. The paper wasn't a letter asking how I'd been. It was a budget. 4 lines, $4 amounts, and a total at the bottom, $410,000. She didn't ask about her granddaughter. She didn't say she'd missed me. She said, "We need to discuss what's fair, Hannah." Here's what she didn't know. For 8 years, I'd been keeping a record of my own. Not out of bitterness, out of habit. I kept it in an old cigar box that used to belong to my grandfather, sitting on the closet shelf above my coats. 19 index cards. Everyone dated. Everyone true. She brought a number. I brought a box. Before I get into it, if you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe. It really does help the channel. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read everyone. Let me take you back to where this started. Pinewood, Minnesota, population 1,100, 1 grocery store, 1 hardware shop, 1 diner that smelled like burnt coffee no matter the hour. My father, Walter, managed the feed co-op on Route 9 for 26 years. My mother, Carol, ran our house and the church bake sale committee like a small government. Efficient, controlled, and not to be questioned. My younger sister, Brooke, was everything I wasn't. Loud, easy, adored. I was the quiet one who did well in school and never asked for much. In our house, attention was a budget too, and Brooke was always the line item that got funded first. I met Eli Mercer the summer after I finished community college, waiting tables at the diner. He drove a truck for a landscaping crew, lived above his cousin's garage, and had grown up in a trailer 2 towns over with a mother who worked nights at a laundromat. He wasn't from money. He wasn't from a family my mother considered ours. He was kind in a way that didn't perform for anyone. He listened like what you said actually mattered. We dated 2 years before he proposed, sitting on the tailgate of his truck with a ring he'd paid off in installments. I called my mother that night. The line went quiet for a long moment before she said, "You're going to embarrass this family, Hannah." Not congratulations, a warning. 2 weeks later, a letter came. Cream stationery, her handwriting, 4 paragraphs. The last line, "If you marry that boy, don't expect us at the wedding, and don't expect a place at this table afterward." I read it 3 times and put it in a drawer. Something told me to keep it. We got married at the county courthouse on a Saturday. 11 guests, all from Eli's side. His mother, Rosa, flew up from Texas with a suitcase full of tamales and cried through the entire 5-minute ceremony. She hugged me after and said, "Welcome to the family meecha." No one from my side came. There was no aisle, just a hallway with bad lighting and a clerk who mispronounced both our names. That night, sitting in our 1-bedroom apartment, I opened the cigar box for the first time. I put in the first card. Wedding day, no family present. June 14th. The first card wasn't an act of war. It was just what I did. I'd always kept records, even as a kid, logging chores and allowances in a little notebook. Now I log silence instead. I mailed my parents a wedding photo a week later. It came back 12 days after, stamp returned to sender, never opened. Card 2. Photo returned, unopened. For 2 years I called on holidays. Voicemail every time. I sent cards for birthdays, all returned. My father texted exactly once. "Your mother needs time." 4 words. That was the whole message. Brooke posted a family photo that Christmas. My parents, her boyfriend, captioned "My people." I wasn't in it. I'd never been asked. Card 7. Family photo. Christmas. Daughter excluded. By year 3, Eli quit his landscaping job to build something of his own. He'd noticed that small produce farmers around us had no easy way to track orders, deliveries, or invoices. Everything ran on notebooks and memory. He started building software in our spare bedroom on a laptop held together with tape. I did the books during the day at my accounting job and the spreadsheets for his company at night. We called it Harvest Root. It launched 18 months later with 6 customers and a server crash on day 1. That same year, our daughter Nora was born. 6 pounds, 2 ounces, a head full of dark hair. Rosa flew in and stayed 3 weeks. She rocked Nora at 3 a.m., taught her how to say abuela before she could say grandma, and left behind a hand-stitched quilt that's still on Nora's bed today. I sent my parents the birth announcement. Returned. I sent a photo of Nora's first steps. Returned. Card 12. Birth announcement. Returned unopened. Card 13. First steps photo. Returned. Brooke texted a mutual friend who forwarded it to me without comment. Hannah's kid doesn't even have real grandparents. That's what she picked. I sat in Nora's nursery holding that screenshot for a long while. In the next room, I could hear Rosa humming while she folded tiny socks. My daughter had a grandmother. Her name was Rosa Mercer, and she never missed a birthday. Card 14 filed. By year 5, Harvest Root had 19 employees and an office above a hardware store. By year 6, we'd closed a funding round that got a small mention in a regional business paper. Nothing huge, but enough that someone in Pinewood read it. A friend from high school texted me, "Random, but your mom was asking about Eli's company at the co-op. Thought you should know." My mother hadn't said my name in 6 years. Now she wanted to know what a funding round meant. That spring, I mailed what I told myself would be my last birthday card, and tucked a photo of Nora inside, missing her 2 front teeth grinning at the camera. On the back I wrote, "She asks about you sometimes. I tell her you live far away." It came back 9 days later, but the flap had been opened and resealed with tape. Someone had looked. Someone had put it back. Card 16, birthday card. Open, resealed, returned anyway. I suspected it was my father. He'd never been the architect of the silence, just the one who enforced it. My mother held the pen. If she couldn't control who I loved, she'd erase me instead. Year 7 Harvest Root was acquired by a larger logistics company for a number with 8 figures in it. Eli and I weren't suddenly famous, but a regional paper ran a profile, and somehow it found its way back to Pinewood, the way news always does in small towns, slow and unstoppable, like water through limestone. A week later, a friend called, sounding rattled. Brooke had accidentally added her to a family group chat. She'd stayed in it for 2 days before getting removed, and she'd taken screenshots. I read them sitting in my car outside Nora's school. Brooke, their company sold for a lot. We should talk to her before someone else does. Make a list. Be specific. She's always been a numbers person. Mom, I'll go in person. A real plan works better than a phone call. Dad, this doesn't feel right. Mom, Walter, she has more money than this whole town. She can help her family. My hands weren't shaking from sadness. They were shaking from clarity. Card 18 filed family group chat. Financial reconnaissance confirmed. If a story like this is hitting close to home, if someone in your life only showed up once the numbers changed, drop it in the comments. I think more people carry this than we admit. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. I called a family attorney, not to sue anyone, just to understand where I stood. She walked me through it in 20 minutes. My mother had no legal claim to anything. Our assets were already protected in a trust for Nora. 8 years of documented estrangement made any claim almost laughable. I hung up and did something else that week. I went through the cigar box and counted. 18 cards, 8 years. I didn't add a 19th. Not yet. She arrived on a Tuesday morning. I watched the taxi pull up from the kitchen window. Beige cardigan, same pearl earrings she'd worn every Sunday of my childhood, a rolling suitcase, and a folded piece of paper in her hand. I opened the door. We stood there for a moment that felt much longer than it was. "Hannah," she said. "Not I missed you." "Not I'm sorry," she said. "We need to discuss the children's future." The children's future. The grandchild she'd never met. I led her to the kitchen, not the living room. The kitchen had good light, and Nora's drawings on the fridge, and a photo of Rosa holding Nora at the lake. My mother's eyes landed on that photo and stayed there a second too long. She unfolded her paper and read it aloud. Retirement support, $150,000. Medical expenses for my father's hip surgery, $40,000. Mortgage payoff on the family home, $120,000. Monthly support, $2,000. Total $410,000. This is what families do for each other, she said. Your father worked his whole life. It's time to give back. I said nothing. I stood up, walked to the closet, and came back with a cigar box. I set it on the table next to her list. Hers. 1 page, 4 numbers. No apology. Mine. 19 cards, 8 years, 0 apologies received. You brought a list, Mom? I said. I brought one too. I opened the box and started reading. Not loudly, not performing. The way you'd read a ledger out loud during an audit, factual, dated, 1 card at a time, the returned wedding photo, the returned birth announcement, the forward text from my father, the Christmas photo I wasn't in, the birthday card that had been opened, looked at, and sent back anyway. Her composure cracked somewhere around card 11. By card 16, the opened envelope, she pressed both hands over her mouth. Who opened this, Mom? A long silence. Your father did. I made him send it back. Why? Because if I let it in, she said, so quietly I almost missed it, I would have had to admit I was wrong, that I'd thrown away 8 years for nothing. For one moment, something honest moved across her face. Then it was gone, replaced by the old posture, the old certainty. But you made your choice, Hannah. You chose him. I closed the box. The lid clicked shut. You didn't come here because you missed me, I said. You came because the number changed. The garage door rumbled. Eli walked in, saw the box on the table, saw my mother, saw me. He didn't say a word, just crossed the kitchen, set his hand on my shoulder, and sat down beside me. That was enough. My mother looked at his hand on my shoulder, at the space between us that held no tension at all, and understood something she couldn't argue with. I won't give you the money, I told her. Not because I can't, because the moment I do, you'll tell yourself the silence was just a rough patch instead of a choice. If you want to know your granddaughter, really know her, not as a line on a budget, it starts with an apology. Not to me, to her. And it doesn't start today. It starts when you're ready to mean it. She picked up her list, picked up her suitcase, and walked to the door. She paused there for a second, like she might say something else. She didn't. The door clicked shut behind her. Not a slam, just a quiet click, the sound of someone who knew she'd lost something money couldn't buy back. 2 weeks later, my father called on a Tuesday morning. His voice was older than I remembered, and there was a crack in it I'd never heard before. Your mother told me what happened, he said. I should have called you years ago. I should have driven out for Nora's first birthday. I'm sorry. Not for the money. I don't want anything. I just want to know my granddaughter, if you'll let me try. I was quiet for a long moment. I believe you, Dad. But believing you and trusting you aren't the same thing yet. We start slow. Calls every couple of weeks. No visits yet. That's more than I deserve, he said. It's exactly what you deserve, I told him. Not more, not less. Brooke texted once. You could have just helped us. I didn't answer. Some messages answer themselves. My mother hasn't called. The silence is hers to break now, not mine to fill. The cigar box is back on the closet shelf. 19 cards. 8 years. I hope I never need a 20th. Here's what 8 years of silence taught me. Family isn't the people who share your last name. It's not the people who reappear once your bank account does. Family is the people who show up when your apartment is small and your laptop is held together with tape and your baby needs someone to rock her at 3 a.m. The people who fly in with a suitcase full of tamales and teach your daughter to say abuela before she can say grandma. That's family. It was never about the number. It was always about who showed up. If this story reminded you that your worth was never a dollar amount, share it with someone who needs to hear that today. Drop a comment below, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.